and we are continuing season 4 as we're journeying through identity, our growth journey, what we're really all about and why we're doing what we are. Don't forget, this is a show about being able to let our hair down and really just leaving the names and titles behind us and figuring out who we are, having real, genuine, authentic conversations and learning more about what we're doing here and finding our purpose. And I am so grateful to have an amazing guest here with us today to continue this journey and this conversation on. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself to our amazing audience, good sir?
Hello, my name is Jeff Culbertson. I'm a 70-year-old father, grandpa, business owner, interior design, architecture, and a bodybuilder competitor.
There it is. Well, God bless you. We're happy to have you here on the show, good sir. And we're gonna dive into some amazing things, and that's
Sure.
quite the list of accomplishments. Now, I'm gonna obviously, for anyone who's listening, I highly invite you to come see this amazing episode so that you can see this incredible soul that's on our show today. You look fantastic. Now,
Thank you.
can you repeat that age again one more time, just for the sake of the audience?
In March, I turned 70 years old.
Ah, God. And fam, for those of you who are listening, just right now before you come to see him on the actual video, he looks not a day over, 38, maybe 40, maybe, right?
Okay. Thank you.
So
I was thinking 64, but that's fine.
There we go. Well, in my humble opinion in that regard. So I'm a big fan in that regard. I got a chance to obviously meet this wonderful human soul in a competition for bodybuilding back in Fresno, California, earlier this year. And obviously for when this is going to be posted, it's still in 2024. So if you're in the future, this was a long time ago. Now it's now. Let's just dive into that. What kind of brought you into this sphere, and how long have you been doing this personal fitness journey that is so big and such a part of your life now? How did that get started? Let's dive in there.
Well, as a kid, I was sort of very shy, introverted, not a lot of self-confidence, skinny, teenager, and I always wanted to be a big athlete. I tried several sports, wasn't good at any of them. I did some swimming, more to my body type. And then I went to work. Got educated at UC Berkeley in architecture and sort of didn't do much exercise at all. And one day I was at the store buying a pair of pants that I had bought several times before, same size exactly. And I was complaining to the guy doing the alterations that they didn't fit.
Yeah.
And he said, well, that's because your body's changing.
Right.
Well, that stuck. I started to go to the gym. I started to eat a little bit better, look a little better, and it became a small part of my life. Then several years ago, now that I was 34 when I started.
Okay.
And that was considered old at the time. But I was very dedicated to it, consistent, and I did see progress. But it wasn't until 2019 that I was at the gym, and I'd had a few trainers before, and some were good, some were okay, not so good.
Yeah.
And I approached this trainer who looked really good. And they always say, listen to people who look the part. He looked the part. I wanted to look like him. And I said, can we work out? And you train me? He said, sure. And he looked straight at me and said, have you ever considered competing? And I went, are you kidding me? It crossed my mind in a fantasy, but not in a reality. And that seed stuck. And I've been 5 days a week for 4.5 years with him.
Wow. Well, shout out to your amazing trainer. You have done an amazing job. And what a journey for you as well, with the truest sense of staying dedicated. And now, obviously, that's the story of kind of the ancillary, kind of the abstract portions of that. Let's zero in. What was the exact moment that you were like, I'm committed? He said, do you want to do a show, or have you ever thought about it? What was it that made you tip over? What was the tipping point, the Malcolm Gladwell tipping point? What made you say yes?
Well, I went back to that 10-year-old kid and had admired the guys that were much bigger than me and physically fit. And I wanted to always be that. And somehow when he said that, and if he saw that in me, that potential, he was probably the first one that I really believed saw potential in me and brought it right out. And that was it. I said, okay, I'm going to compete. And I started out, 2 days a week with him. I worked up to 3 days a week with him. I worked up to 4 days a week with him. Now I'm 5 days a week, every week, every month for 5 years. And it's the best investment I've ever made in my life.
I love it. And now, I heard you correctly with Berkeley as part of your genesis of where you went to
Yes.
work, schooling to become an architect. How
Yes.
does your career path with architecture play into how you've become able to structure? Because architecture is very structured. It has building codes and plans and
Correct.
organization charts. How does that fit in with fitness, and how does that cultivate a better, easier, maybe palpable way in which you were able to jump into this?
Um, I just made it a priority.
Okay.
When we're younger,
Yeah.
in our 30s, we build our career. And I went to Cal Berkeley, actually 5 years of architecture study. I worked for a couple companies, and then I started my own business at the late age of
Mm,
50,
okay.
and have become, in my mind, successful. And it's my passion. And so I discovered my other passion to be fitness. So I balance my passions.
Yeah.
And if I'm working and I have a choice to either go to the gym or work more, I go to the gym.
I love
I
it.
make an appointment with myself,
Yeah.
and it's just part of what I do. I'm kind of a fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
When
it. Yeah.
a little side story, just to let
Bring it up.
I've been thinking about all this since we started chatting a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I was born 70 years ago,
Yeah.
I weighed 3 pounds, 7 ounces.
Oh man.
And I was the runt of the family.
Yeah.
So I always had this cloud over my head, and I had to become successful in my mind
Yeah.
and truly successful. So now what I find myself doing, I didn't choose this path, but now I'm a mentor and inspirer and just someone, an influencer. And it's a kind of a nice position to be in. I mean, we live our lives, we gain knowledge, and it's time for us to pass that on to others.
I love that. And I think that you embody it very well as just a testament to who you are. I, I'm amazed and taken aback by the fact of having gone from being the runt of the family all the way. I've obviously transpired and matriculated in your development.
Right.
I came into this world. I was the only son in that regard, and I was 10 pounds 11 ounces. So I'm on the spectrum. Yes, my father called me Tank Man, right? So that was I was watermelon that was dropped into this world. But my heart is with you in the fact of having gone from where you are now. That comes with its beauty in that regard. Now you get a chance to mentor and give back to others, and that's how
Right.
obviously I found you. When I was
Yes.
and sharing that with the audience now, I want to obviously kind of paint the picture and have them see it visually how it all took place. We're there at the competition in Fresno, California. We're backstage, we're behind stage, obviously, and I see all these different competitors. You look like obviously you're not much out of your late 30s, early 40s. Until this amazing man steps out onto stage, and obviously at the end when you're accepting your award and so on and so forth, they introduce you at the age that you are, and you got a chance to say your heartfelt speech about what you've been doing and where you've been. It was just an absolute amazing turnaround in my own mind to see this handsome, healthy, well put together individual that literally looked not a day over maybe 40. And you're just doing it, and you're being an exemplar. So with all of that, I'm not just trying to front load it too much here and
Sure.
leading the voice in that regard, but I'm simply saying it as a heartfelt, you're incredible. How does that feel now for you to be an inspiration to others? You are right. You are actually an influencer. Your following on Instagram is growing. I hope that this obviously helps boost that in that regard. That's what I want this to be able to do, and this to be a lasting testament for you. So how does that feel now that you get a chance to give back and be inspiring to others?
Well, the word sit back doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I, you know, uh, when I finally gained the confidence, I always knew in my heart what I wanted to do, and just sitting down, doing it day to day, doing the hard work,
Mm.
living through the trials and tribulations. Life is a series of adventures, and you have to take each adventure as it comes, whether it's a good one or a bad one, and then you have to learn from that adventure.
Mm.
But I really enjoy I'm approached often,
Yeah.
either at the gym or in the grocery store or on Instagram or Facebook. And I'm
Yeah.
always asked, I love it when they come up and they go, "Can I ask you a question?" I know what the question is.
Right,
You know,
right.
how old are you? You know,
Yeah. Okay,
and
but
then these.
you want to date my daughter? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. That's it. Yeah.
I did a little at the competition I did last year. I had this 20-year-old guy, really nice guy. Where it's a lot of camaraderie backstage, as you know.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he says, "Man, you look so good." He goes, "Hey, can I introduce you to my grandmother?" And
That's it.
I okay, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I enjoy being a mentor and helping people. It's very inspiring. That's very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
And when I, don't want to go to the gym that afternoon and I get in the car and I go, those are the thoughts that I have and about helping other people. And I truly like to help other people.
It comes through. It really, really does. And you're someone who embodies it. I want to circle back to the phrase that you use because I love being able to actually be able to put out there your words. And you said the heart of a warrior. I think that's moving. I think that'll be something that is part of this episode in that regard. When you say that there's kind of this warrior spirit inside of you,
Yeah.
unpackage that. Let's peel back the layers on that. What do you mean by that in that regard? And what does that mean for you as you're being a mentor and a leader?
Well, growing up as a shy kid and introvert and not knowing who I was and not believing in myself and labeled a C student,
Yeah.
those are not fun things. And to be able to forge ahead eventually and do the things that in my heart I always wanted to do and in my mind and accomplish it. Become an architect, become an interior designer, become a business owner, become a dad, become a grandfather, become a husband, become a bodybuilder at a late age and win awards. I'm blowing my own mind.
Yeah. That is the heart of a warrior.
Yeah.
It is. And that's going to come with a whole entire myriad of challenges. Obviously, since the beginning of being the runt, being, the swimmer body, as you had said, what have been some of the other challenges, maybe internal, that you've actually been battling on the inside? Obviously, that's what we get into with this show. And that's the whole entire premise of the idea about peeling back these layers from rough sketch to final draft.
Yeah.
What are those internal ones?
Well, I've lost some family members. I lost a grandson. I lost my sister when I was 20 years old. I lost my 19-year-old nephew. And those remain with you. Those things remain with you. Other struggles is I was always very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person, being in the architecture trade. But that is to say that I never liked the criticism, or I always felt I was being judged.
Yeah.
And those were some of the internal struggles that I've had.
Okay.
And now I don't I don't have that as much.
Indeed. I see you as this amazing version of yourself. And I think it's always the great, beautiful part about this catharsis and the fact of having these kind of introspective, deep diving interviews in that regard is that we see these visions of ourselves that we are today. And they're snapshots. They're moments frozen in time.
Yeah.
Who we've accomplished and climbed, and acclimated to becoming. At the same time, we don't necessarily always see the behind the scenes work, what we've done on ourselves. And I think that's one of the most beautiful moment where the listener gets a chance to say, me too. Oh, and we have two words: forgiveness in life or permission. And when we hear others go through these struggles, we give ourselves permission to allow ourselves to move forward sometimes, because it's like, oh, thank God, someone else.
Well, and give yourself permission to struggle. I mean, It's okay to struggle, because that you will ultimately learn from that. And if you're given everything in life, you don't appreciate it. And only when, if you have struggles and you have things you need to overcome, whether they're real or perceived, then you can be successful. And the other thing is, do your passions. Find out what you like to do and do your passion. If you're doing your passion, you're not going to have to put as much hard work into it as you think you are. Don't do what you think everybody else wants you to do or what you think you should be doing. Find your passions.
Yeah. I think in tandem with this, let's keep this portion of that going. There's a great quote, and I'm sure that everyone's kind of heard a piece of it or something else to the effect of it, but it's actually from Rudyard Kipling. It's about the idea that most people actually don't suffer from the fact of doing too much. It's they suffer from not doing enough of the things that they love. So
Right.
how does that fit with you and continue going? Because we're right on the crisp of it. So let's keep that part of it going. How does that quote resonate with the things that you've done in your life?
Well, I would tell anybody that if you're in a position to be in a place and you say, "Hey, I'm not going to go do that," or "I don't want to," or I remember one instance I was a sales representative for a while, and I was in Canada, and
Mm,
I was in in a hotel room, and I was tired,
yeah,
and I had the day off the next day. I should have gone to Victoria, and I didn't do it. Victoria, BC.
yeah,
I didn't do it, and I regret those moments of taking a little bit more advantage or taking a chance on things that I didn't do. Now
yeah,
that's minor, but as I said, when we're in our 30s, we're trying to build our career, we're trying to be successful, but success doesn't just come from the money you make or the job position that you get. It comes from the satisfaction of what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're treating people.
true. Very, very true. And back to what we were just saying a second ago, the pains, the challenges, and you had artfully said the fact of that if without it, we don't necessarily grow. And I see you now as this individual who actually, I'll say that you're running towards these brick walls to knock them down. You're basically
Yeah.
being.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I love that your transformation and your genesis of where you've gone in your life is that way. And that's why I think that anyone who's obviously in this position in their life where they might be able to be somehow related to where you're at in that regard, seeing also that someone who is already, and it's so challenging because you're I'm going to say it again, you're so handsome and you're in such great shape. It's a challenge to literally say this wonderful individual that I'm interviewing today is 70 years old and that you've made this choice conscientiously at this
Yeah.
era of your life. That's absolutely incredible. Most people quit at 25 because they think,
I
oh,
know. I
too
know.
old, or 40 is definitely over the hill. And you've defied every single one of
Yeah.
these societal, I'll say, crux, right? And crutches. I don't want to say that they're negative things, right? I validate everything. And that's as a life coach and someone who's a humanist, I want people to always
Right.
feel good about themselves. At the same time, there are these belief structures sometimes that we hold on to that end up becoming like soft pads that we don't have to go as hard in life anymore.
Right. Well,
Right.
actually, I'll tell you, you have to go harder
Yes.
because over the age of 60, everybody loses a percentage of muscle every year.
Yeah.
So not only do I have to try to maintain that,
Mm.
if I want to do another competition, which I'm planning, another goal,
Yes.
yes, I have to do this every day. And I'm
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter of life.
Yeah.
I'm in the fourth quarter of the game, and I just want to be able to play the fourth quarter really well and maybe go into overtime.
Amen. Well, and you're doing it every single time that we work out. The scientific studies keep on revealing more and more about how the health is just absolutely intertwined with us actually going
Yeah,
into working out. We've been seeking for this philosophical, esoteric fountain of youth forever. Well, it turns out the gym is pretty close to that, actually. It's not the elixir that you drink, and then obviously
right,
it's a but you can sweat. That's the elixir, I guess. And it does add tons of years, tons of cognitive understandings and the neuroplasticity of the mind. We can rewrite our DNA with that whole entire epigenetics portion of things, and you're crushing it in that truest sense.
Well,
Um,
I started out doing the bodybuilding and first the exercise, then the bodybuilding to
yeah,
look better and feel
yeah,
more confident about myself.
sure.
But now I do it to live longer and be healthier. And I am. And I enjoy it. But it is hard work and I have to do it every day. And you don't see results immediately. They
Mm,
take time and
yeah.
you have to have patience. And I'm not been known to be a patient person.
That's all right. Most of us and out there in the audience will also resonate with that. What's the one thing that doctors and people with no patience in life have in common? Right? It's the fact that they have no money. So if a doctor has no patience, so there you go. Let's
Right.
let's transition into the fact of as you've gone through this. let's, for the sake of the audience too, and even from my own understanding, is one of the questions that I wanted to be asking you since I actually got a chance to connect with you. And I'm so honored to have this conversation today. I'll say it again and again, is what are some of the things that you've learned through this process that maybe were surprises, like aha moments that came up in your world when you started this process? What were some of those things that you didn't think that you were going to think, but now you see them as truths?
Well, one of the things which might not directly relate to the life coaching, but for number one, every body is different.
Yeah.
So when you go online and start to read things, it may not apply to you, or it may not be as successful for you. Um, the second thing is that you have to do this every day,
Mm-hmm.
because I had this notion that, oh, I'll just get into shape and then I'm good. Well, no,
Yeah.
it's an everyday thing. Sure, I take one cheat meal a week. I enjoy the cheat meal immensely. And I do, change my very strict diet once in a while, for enjoyment or for whatever else. But I have to get back on the plan.
Yeah.
And in order to do what I do, I have to get up in the morning. I have to do it. I have to set goals. My goal, January 1st of last year, was to be on stage at 70 and be the oldest guy on stage. And I accomplished that goal. And now I'm a little left without goals. So I'm doing some other things. I'm at a stage of my life where I'm purging. The first part of our life we collect, the second part we kind of get rid of things. But I have set the new goal to do another competition in November, December.
Wonderful.
And so that's one thing I learned, is that this just something, you just don't achieve something and then lay back. You have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
And who knows where right.
Go ahead.
No, I was just simply adding to it. And who knows where that's going to go? Please, you keep going.
No, it's just, that's one thing I learned. I also learned that you don't have to, how do I try to say this? If you're doing what you love and people are noticing it and you're getting results in what you do, whether it be professionally or physically, people will respect you. People will admire that, and you can help them. And that's the other thing I've learned, is that I enjoy helping people. There was a gentleman in his early 50s competing with me, his first competition, and I looked at him, and he was lost. So I just went over and introduced myself, and I said, "Hey, this is what we should be doing. Let's do this. Let's warm up, whatever." And I just wanted to make him feel comfortable. And so the joy, a lot of the joy in the competition wasn't just me being on stage and winning an award. It was helping guys backstage, the young ones, or some of the guys a little younger than me. Well, they're all younger than me, and just helping them get through their personal journey pain and to achieve their goal. I mean, this guy had lost like 50 pounds, and I admire that. I admire that.
I find that interesting in the sense that it's such an interesting aspect of the fitness community. And this is something that I've done my humble best. I'm going to be a part of an upcoming documentary pretty soon called The Feeling of Fitness, about the idea of kind of changing the views of what fitness and what the world of fitness was, maybe back in the 70s and the 60s,
right,
with Lou Ferrigno and pumping iron.
I was there.
Totally amazing. And it's changed. They paved the way. They're the giants, and we are standing on those shoulders. And the world now, just everyone's kind of in fitness. You can have a fitness YouTube channel, an Instagram account, or something else that affects. So it's much more homeopathic in that regard.
Right.
And
right.
Fitness, when you're behind the stage, and I want to share this for the audience and everyone else, one of the biggest takeaways that I think that is out there for everyone to kind of maybe refresh and reframe is the fact that they're all supportive. We're behind the scenes, behind the whole entire backstage portion of this. We're all rooting each other on. Some of these guys have literally had alcoholism. Some of them have, God bless them, they literally have lost their lives by losing a spouse, losing a business, or something else like that. They were tasting literally the cold metal inside their mouth, from a revolver a couple of months ago. And they met someone who was a trainer, someone who inspired them in that regard and changed their life. And now here they are trying to literally reinvent themselves and be an inspiration. And it's such a different idea of this idea that a bunch of people want to go get lathered up in body oil and go show off. It's not the showing off. It's
No,
the heart behind it, the accomplishing of I feel
it
good about
is.
me,
It is.
right? Yeah. And so please share some of that with you, and the fact of what was some of the takeaways that you've learned and in being behind the scenes, and what was new to you in that regard.
Well, I've done about 6 contests and
Yeah.
over the past 3 years. And the first one, I was that shy guy in the backstage, and there's at least one or two that'll reach out and they see your face and they will offer you some, a bar or something to drink or something. And so there is that camaraderie. I mean, we're all in this for the same, look, we're all in this for some of the same reasons. One is we're all that 12-year-old kid
Yeah.
that just wants to excel and be an athlete. This is for the guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and we're doing it.
Yeah.
All doing it at different times and different places.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice. But again, it's talking with the people, learning a little bit about them and their journey, and why some of the weight they've lost. And I get all the before pictures of how much they weighed before, and they're so proud that they don't that they're in shape now. And then they're all very proud to have their families and friends outside rooting for them. And yeah, and I was very honored to be interviewed, as the oldest guy at the competition. That was kind of fun. Yeah, I love the judges when they said, "How old are you?" Yeah, they go, "How old are you?"
We were all taken aback. I mean, Jeff, you're an incredible specimen. I'm gonna just call you that. You're Captain America. I mean, you really
Well,
are.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
Um,
you.
you're a hero to me and many others in that show, Kevin included. I know that's a mutual friend of ours in that regard. A guest of the show, most likely a guest again in the future as well. He might be appearing in that documentary, The Feeling of Fitness, as well. So there's a couple of things going on there, and I'm gonna kind of pause and simply say, with all of what you've accomplished, and now that you've hit this
Sure.
milestone of 70, what advice would you have for 35-year-old, 40-year-old Jeff in that regard, that you would have wanted to say, hey, go after this when you were 35, or go after this when you were 40? What would you say there?
Well, first of all, I would say when I was going through a divorce when I was 26 years old, I was living with a friend, and his 85-year-old mother. I was having a conversation with her, lovely, lovely woman, and I was complaining and being sad, and she said, "Jeff," I said, "What?" She goes, "Life is something that happens to you when you're planning something else," and that stuck.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, so now I'm going to have a plan A, B, and C, or think about things. And actually, it was nice. It was nice to have her say that. But what else would I say to people? Uh, as far as the fitness group, say eat real food. There's a lot of stuff out there that isn't that they say is healthy.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So that my coach taught me that eat real food. Life is something that happens to you when you're planning something else. Life is a series of adventures. Live each one as they come. And those are some of the things I subscribe to. The other thing from experience, as I said, set some goals. Set a goal. January 1st, I've got 16 weeks or 14 weeks to plan for a contest. That was my focus while doing my business and owning a business and doing everything else with clients.
Right.
And the other thing is let people know who you are. A quirky example is I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've got arthritis, my colitis. I'm a type 2 diabetic. So I've got some ailments that I have to deal with. And I have my clients, if we go into a 3 or 4 hour meeting, I say, you know what, guys, I apologize in advance. I'm going to go to my cooler. I'm going to bring my food out and I'm going to eat it,
Yeah.
because that's what I have to do for me. So that's the other thing is respect yourself and
Yeah.
don't just do what other people or what you think other people expect you to do.
Yeah.
I mean, be kind and courteous and respectful, but do what you want to do. Again, find your passion, do your passion. It won't be as such hard work if you do that. And if your passion doesn't coordinate with your career, fine.
Yeah.
Do your career. That's fine. That's a goal. That's something you need to do. Support yourself, support your family, but also find your passion. So stop the work when it's time and attend to the passion.
I love that. And take into consideration that the word consideration is a two-way street. Consider the others as well. At the same time, have consideration for yourself. I love that.
Right.
That's a beautiful takeaway. Out of all six of those, that's just phenomenal wisdom. At the same time, or something to hammer again and again is to literally have consideration for others and a kindness. At the same time, fam, what Jeff is saying, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to articulate it out of that sentence, is the fact that it's consideration for others. Absolutely. Consideration for yourself. Don't forget about that key ingredient. Make sure that you are showing up for yourself. And that actually helps with setting healthy boundaries so that others can actually receive you, respect you, and acknowledge you.
Exactly.
You show up for you already. Right.
And another thing, have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm asked, what do I want to find in a relationship? Sense of humor is right up there.
Yeah.
You have to laugh. I was blessed with parents that had great sense of humors, and I've got a little bit of both, and you just have to do that. Talk with the checker at the checkout line at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, return the cart or return a couple carts. Don't let them sit in the parking lot. You know, do those things. You'll feel better for it.
Yeah. We're starting to get into a Jordan Peterson 10 rules for life here in that regard. Start with making the bed, take that cart back, and it really is. To circle back to a great conversation that I had on this show from this season. Season 4 has just been a winner, and I'm so glad to have you here. It's perfect timing. We haven't even hit 1 year yet, and we've already almost got to over 6,000 followers on here. Shout out to the amazing family. And I'm going to remind myself right now, like and subscribe and give this man a heart because he is absolutely amazing. His links are going to be down below. Don't forget. But I was having a conversation with Sebastian and Mike Krausen, Sebastian Engs and Mike Krausen, and we had talked about the fact of just a mindset about basically preach wherever you go and use words whenever necessary, right? So like allow who you are to be what you're preaching, and then use words only when necessary. And the fact of when you're walking around, I think what he said, to paraphrase it, was if you have the attitude, the mindset of that shirt doesn't go there and you're inside your own home, but you walk by it every single day because it hasn't made it to the hamper. It's a part of how you are, right? Like it's going to follow you. I'm guaranteed that if you get into your car, the car is going to have that coffee cup from Starbucks been there for 3 or 4 days, right? And you go to that person's office and you see their desk and it's got maybe the Krispy Kreme wrapper from 2 days ago. Like,
it's true.
Way, right? So it's interesting that how we do one thing is how we usually typically do everything. And I think that's a beautiful.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful. I love the wisdom that you've got here.
Well, I still have a few Starbucks cups in the back of my car, so I'm not perfect.
Yeah. No, neither am I. We'll always leave that in that sense that anyone that's ever come on here, we always admit. So from season 1, episode 1 with Lulu Lee, we do not have all the answers. And anyone who comes on the show, we are being transparent and vulnerable in the fact of here we are in the midst of it. And the reason why this works as a dialogue is because we're all in it. Let me just ask that question. Who do you know that doesn't have pain? Who do you know that doesn't have struggles? Who do you know that isn't in the process of their rough sketch to their life's final draft?
Right.
Crickets. Nobody. So it's like, wait. So it's beautiful. So let's, because I'm enjoying this, let's continue on. What are some of the things that you're most proud of in the whole entire capitulation of Jeff's life? What are some of the things that you're proud of that you want to share and maybe take a moment to say something about?
I'm very proud of fully understanding myself.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of my architecture interior design business. I've done very well with that, better than I thought I would. And I started that business at a late phase. I'm very proud to be dedicated to my fitness and health. And I'm proud of the friends that I have. I can count all my really good friends on 2 hands.
There you go.
But I'm proud of that.
Those are the real ones.
I'm proud to recently I'm proud to have headed up my 50th year high school reunion.
Ah,
and and actually to meet all those people again, hear their stories, and then fully understand that they actually went through similar pain, or pain to a similar degree but differently. I never knew that.
yeah,
Haven't seen some of these people in 50 years, but just to realize that they've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations and have come out well and are able to talk about it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
was really fun and satisfying.
It's fantastic to understand that they were going through similar things that you were going through, even when you guys were
Right,
all,
right.
when we're all know-it-alls in that high school era. I don't know, one
Oh,
14-year-old to 18-year-old doesn't know it all. We all did. And then, we learn, we don't know what we don't know, but yeah,
right.
that's got to be a good feeling, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good feeling.
Mm.
Well, I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my two daughters and my son and my three grandchildren. I'm very, very proud of them.
Now,
Yeah.
did any of them turn out to be fitness enthusiasts or architects like Dad? Did that bleed into the rest of the?
Um,
No, maybe.
well, my one daughter's an entrepreneur, so she's doing
Okay.
very well. She's a good salesperson, and I have that ability. And then my son is actually a black belt karate. So
Nice.
yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah.
And he's actually now a chef. And he worked for the French Laundry
Wow.
up in, yeah, very famous restaurant. That's where he got his education in cooking,
There we go.
and doing
Incredible.
very well. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, I can weave so many different things in together, and then there's something that comes to reality, fruition about the fact of you've accomplished it, and you've done these things. So these are the things you're
Mhm.
proud of. Let's ask kind of the next step of the question, and just for the sake of the audience and something for you to remember, because once it's on the internet, it's forever in that regard. What what are you looking forward to? I know you said you were working on that next goal. What are some of the goals though? What might those even be, if they're even in the abstract rough sketch of the vision board? What
Okay.
are those next goals? Yeah.
So I'm going, I guess you would term it semi-retirement. I'm going to pick and choose my clients even more so than I have,
Got
and reduce the number of them. That also reduces some of the stress that I am not willing to do anymore, the hard work.
it.
Um, and then I'm purging.
Yeah.
I have well, a couple places, and I have way too much stuff,
Mm.
and saving. Well, now it's like, what am I going to do with this? So I am in the process of purging physical things.
Okay.
And then I actually have planned to possibly make a move, relocation to Dubai.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, keep us informed on that one. That'll be
I
exciting.
will keep you
Yeah.
updated on that.
Yeah.
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 That
That's
that would
exciting.
be, yeah, for a little bit of work there, and yeah, I'm thinking about it. I've been there several times in the past couple of years. I actually competed there last year too.
I was just going to throw in that we're in synchronicity and alignment today. I was going to say I think you're going to crush it in the Dubai fitness world. I think that's
Oh,
awesome.
I got some really good competitors there.
Yeah, that's where you go pro, and that's where you get to be well known. Yeah.
Well, that's what my coach has planted another seed, and he says, Jeff, why are you doing these local contests? He says, we've already accomplished them. Now it's time to do a real contest, maybe in Vegas, and become a pro.
Yes.
So he's planted that seed.
Hey, good. We will stay tuned with that on your journey through your growth. Absolutely. There's a number of us in this whole entire process of things, and I think it's one of the best things ever in that regard. And that's taking into capitulation the fact of literally just reiterating it. And for many of the family that is here and the rough sketch of final draft and the Coach Adams side of things, is that's what we focus on. That's the reason why the show actually even originally happened. They were asking for it so much, of the fact that there's mental fitness and physical
Yes,
fitness. And I believe
yes,
that's
man.
marry these two things. That's what the
Yes,
purpose was. So
yes,
trust me, I'm honored to share this journey with you, good sir, and people like Kevin, the amazing souls that we meet at these incredible shows. What they're doing and what we're all striving to do. It's interesting because we're literally living in a spot. If I may just take a hard pause for us and the whole entire audience to be able to kind of marinate and saturate with what we've been saying. we're in a contrast right now with where the world is and where what we're doing is really making a difference in people's lives and minds, because there are, safe space, there's a whole lot of individuals who are unmotivated towards actually their own self-help journey. And
Right.
when we see others, like I said before,
Right.
forgiveness or permission, it gives them permission to give themselves forgiveness so that they can start doing what they know they should
Right.
be doing themselves. Yeah.
Well, I want to reiterate something you said, and that is you absolutely have to have, and that's something I learned. You asked earlier,
Yeah.
you have to have the mental fitness with the physical fitness. You have to have a combination of both. The other thing I want to say to everybody is any person or relationship cannot make you happy. You have to be happy with yourself first. And if you hear the old, oh, I'm going to marry the love of my life and she's going to be wonderful and make me happy. No, people don't, that's not how it happens. No. No, you have to be happy and satisfied with yourself,
Yeah.
learn your pluses and minuses, positives and negatives, and then you have to, create a relationship based upon interaction. And if you love yourself, then you can love other people.
It's perfect. And perfect segue. We're just kind of setting it up, knocking them out. So the next one is, because we're getting closer to the spot of where we're going to get to the crescendo of all of this, is where in your journey, we've got all the way back from the very beginning, is to know thyself. What were some of the things and what can you give to the audience as part of your personal self-loving, self-understanding, wisdom-seeking journey? What were some of those avenues that you could offer to people out there listening? And what were some of the ones you took? Maybe a particular book, maybe like Socrates and the Plato's Republic, or something else like that, or a certain methodology, Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, something like that. What were some of the things that you did during yourself?
The Dale Carnegie course, I took that. So
there we go. That was pulling that out of the ether.
How did you know?
Yeah, right. Those are the good ones. But
well,
yeah.
What I will say, and this is why I did that.
Yeah.
If you want to excel at something, you have to seek out a professional to help you.
Yeah.
You can read all you want, and I'm not an avid reader,
Yeah.
and you can get tons of stuff off the internet. But I hired a coach. My avenue to fitness, I feel, was relatively short because I had somebody watching me and mentoring me and coaching me the entire time. If you certainly you can go do this on your own, but if you seek out a professional and take the steps and listen, you will get results faster. And that's what I want to say. I have a lot of clients, very, very well-to-do Silicon Valley type clients.
Yeah.
And what I discovered was here this labeled C student, although I had an architecture degree, is able to capture these people's imagination because I have that knowledge. I have that ability to be able to do what they cannot do.
Right.
Now, can I do what they do? Absolutely not. Nor do I want to? No.
Right.
But I have a value. And if you understand your value, then you can use that value to your benefit.
Amen. We're all dealing with this Hobbesian, social contract in the regard that we're independently dependent upon one another when we're actually trying to create the peaceful social contract that your skill set is yours and someone else will have theirs, and then you share amongst yourselves. And that's
exactly. So that's my advice is get a plan, set a goal. First of all, do your passion, find out your passion, try to get a plan, set a goal, and hire a professional in those areas to help you. Then you will excel and your success with what you do will come faster.
Yeah. This is true. It's truer than true. We all have mentors. There's always been the wise woman, the wise man of any village, and any capitulation of historical reference of any village or anywhere around the world. Doesn't matter the culture. Those have always been there. So it's almost as air to breathe that we were designed this way in that sense. So it's chef's kiss in that regard. So let's let's do this. This is coming up towards the culmination, the crescendo of the show, and I always give this back. And this, I'm sure if you've seen episodes in the past, I'm sure that the audience is ready for it. And this is a gift that I always give to my amazing guests. If you can, if you want to be able to have something on the internet that was on your heart that you want to share, we've shared so many things that you want to leave as a lasting note to anyone who's going to see this in the future. What is that? And what is now something that you would like to just be able to say? We said so many beautiful things. So what is the takeaway message that you would like to leave with us all today? And it's all yours.
Well, as I said a couple times, first of all, find what you like to do. Find your passion, and your path will be easier. Understand that life is a process, ever evolving, and you keep learning, and you will have good times and bad times. Try to learn from the bad times. You will cry, you will be depressed, but try to stick with a plan of some sort, or do some of the things you like to do while you're doing that. And, what do you truly get enjoyment out of? And find the right people for you. The old cliche is get rid of toxic people. Yes. Eliminate toxic people. I never did that for a long time. I always tried to do what I thought people wanted me to do. And I was a people pleaser. Don't be a people. Well, you can, but you can be a diplomatic people pleaser. But if you feel it, fine. Because there are people out there that will that find joy out of tearing you down. And you cannot allow that to happen. So those are some of the things I would say.
Well, you're a Renaissance man. Let's go to Z. We're going to paint by numbers.
Is that age related?
No, well, it can be in that regard. However, it lands on your heart. I mean it out of the most respect. You are the millennial man. If they were going to recast the show with the $1 million man, you are absolutely it. 100%. We could build him. We could make him bet. Right? Like that is you are that is the truth. But in the same time, you are an amazing father. You are an accomplished architect and professional. You have owned your own business. You are now in a different era of life where you are just blowing standards out of the water. And I am just so, so humbled and so grateful that you came here on the show today to be a part of this, to share this amazing conversation for the benefit of us. And as we grow in our conversation and our connection, good sir, because I know I'm going to see you behind Backstage again and again. And for the sake of the beautiful, beautiful audience. So, I love you. I really do. And I'm happy to share it. Tell the people where they can find you, good sir. Where can they find you? And
I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
fit_Jeff_60. Fit Jeff 60. I may have to change that, but I'm kind of not ready to change the 60 yet.
Not yet. No.
Not yet. I have a little problem. I have a little problem with that. A little ego problem with that.
Okay. Well, there we go, fam. Like and subscribe. Give this man some love. Go to find his content. I'm sure he would love to hear from you. And again, Jeff, thank you so much.
Yeah, and please, a lot of people reach out to me for advice, fitness advice, etc. And I'm happy to help. Happy to share what my experience.
Okay. Well, we got a whole family of the Coach Adam side of 19,000 followers. They're going to flood you. So be ready for this. It's coming. And we love it.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day.
Preach at all times, but if necessary, use words.
I love that.
Preach at all times, but if necessary, use words.
Thank you. What's on my heart is what's in my heart, which is just
emotional sense and in a professional sense.
I would say the first thing is professional. I'll talk to that. I think one of the